Contingency plan, code abyss. No matter how frightening, unpredictable, or strong the enemy may seem, everything has a weak point. My job is to find it. And in art, the clown's case, neutralizing him requires more than physical strength. It requires intelligence, planning, and above all, a mind that won't succumb to the fear he uses as a weapon. Who is Art the Clown? You've heard his name. Art the Clown. Don't let the painted smile fool you. He's not just a killer. He's a horror spectacle, an artist obsessed with turning his victims into grotesque pieces. He doesn't kill on impulse. He does it because he wants you to see. He wants you to feel the terror in every detail of his work. Art first appeared in 2013, a lost VHS tape, 3 disturbing shorts, and then deaths. Halloween after Halloween, bodies appear mutilated with the same signature. Art, written in blood or other repulsive substances. But he's not just a man. There's something more. He feels pain but doesn't truly die. He can be hurt, but he comes back. Always comes back. He's strong enough to tear off a head with his bare hands. He's intelligent, tracking his victims like a perfect predator, using scent to locate them, and can even invade dreams. This isn't just killing, it's total control, physical and mental. But like any force, he has weaknesses. Weaknesses we can exploit. Art's weak points. 1. Physical barriers. Art cannot pass through locked doors or solid barriers. He needs direct access, and that's an advantage for us. 2. Need for attention. He needs an audience. He doesn't kill in anonymity. This makes him predictable in his objectives. 3. Temporary vulnerability. He can be injured and incapacitated, even if only for a short time. With this information, I developed Code Abyss. It's a plan that uses his own nature against him, my strategy to neutralize him. Art the Clown lives for the spectacle. That's what makes him powerful. But that's also what will bring him down. 1. NTH metal confinement. NTH metal will be the foundation of his prison. This material isn't common. It's special. Its mystical properties disrupt supernatural forces. No matter how hard Art tries, he won't be able to escape a cell lined with NTH metal, and that's not all. The coffin I'll use to transport him will also be made of this metal, ensuring he remains completely contained. Thus, even if he tries to use any ability to escape, he'll be neutralized due to temporary lethal force. Art is resilient, but not invincible. I'll use high-precision explosives and shock devices designed to disable him, not kill him. My priority is to weaken him enough to capture him. 3. The psychological trap. He lives to be seen. So, I'll create the perfect stage for him. A fake grand event. A spectacle he won't resist turning into his next masterpiece. The location will be carefully prepared with sensors, cameras, and invisible traps. He'll be lured exactly where I want him, where he'll be most vulnerable. 4. Tracking technology. I'll use olfactory sensors to track him. If he can find his victims by scent, we can find him the same way. Social media, Halloween events, any suspicious movement will be monitored. He's not as unpredictable as he thinks. If supernatural neutralizers, besides NTH metal, I'll use sonic weapons and disruptive devices to disorient him. These technologies not only neutralize his abilities, but put him at a total disadvantage. The best way to defeat an artist is by stealing his audience. Without attention, he's just a clown with a bad trick, and that's exactly how we'll make him fall. Art will be captured the moment he thinks he's won. His masterpiece will become his defeat. The trap will be ready, and he'll be unable to escape my plan. I've faced monsters before. The Joker is insane but predictable. Art, he's silence, he's meticulous. But like any villain, he has a breaking point. This is Code Abyss, and when I activate it, it will be Art the Clown's final act.
Alfred, the heat signature shows that Michael was here. Gotham has taught me that all evil can be stopped. But Michael Myers, he's different. Not even Jason Voorhees has such determination. While Jason kills for revenge, Myers kills for sheer malice. There's no emotion, no hesitation. just a void of murder behind that mask. Tell me in the comments, who do you think is more lethal, the killer from Camp Crystal Lake or Myers who terrorizes Haddonfield? What you're about to see isn't just another contingency plan. It's the only thing standing between Michael Myers and his next victims. The nature of evil, Michael Myers. Michael Myers isn't just a man, he's an unstoppable force. Since childhood, his story has been marked by an uncontrollable thirst for destruction and death. In Haddonfield, he has become a living legend, a symbol of evil that seems impossible to stop. Bullets, stabs, and even explosions haven't been enough to contain him. He simply doesn't stop. Therefore, we're not talking about a traditional confrontation. With Michael, it's not enough to defeat him. He must be contained definitively. He's more than human. He's a force that defies logic and even science. And if you think he could survive a confrontation with other horror icons like Jason Voorhees, I want to know your opinion in the comments. Now, prepare to learn about the most advanced plan ever devised. Step 1. Understanding the Predator. To contain Michael Myers, the first step is understanding how he operates. He's a meticulous predator, driven by an obsessive impulse. But, like all predators, he leaves traces, and that's where technology comes into play. With an advanced AI system, we'll monitor his movement patterns, tracking every step. Drones equipped with thermal and chemical sensors will fly over Haddonfield and surrounding areas, identifying any anomalies that indicate his presence. Additionally, we'll perform a detailed mapping of his routes and hideouts. Michael might be supernatural, but even he can't escape constant and precise surveillance. Step 2. Layered traps. To face Michael Myers, a direct confrontation would be futile. Instead, the secret lies in isolating him with a system of layered traps, carefully designed to wear down his strength and limit his mobility. First layer. This reduces his immediate reaction capacity, creating a strategic opening. Second layer. If he gets past this barrier, he enters the second layer, which consists of cryogenic systems capable of drastically reducing his mobility by lowering his body temperature. Even with his supernatural resilience, extreme cold will start to take its toll. Third layer. Finally, we have the third layer, energy containment fields. Based on cutting-edge technology, these fields create invisible and impenetrable barriers, making any advance impossible. Here, the goal isn't just to stop him, but to trap him. These traps leave no room for error, combining technology with strategy to ensure Michael Myers doesn't move forward a single step. Step 3. Chemical neutralization. Even with all his superhuman strength, Michael Myers still has a body that can be manipulated, and this is where science comes into play. Chemical neutralization is a crucial part of the plan. Next-generation sedatives. We'll use a custom cocktail of next-generation sedatives, designed to overcome any metabolic resistance. These sedatives not only slow him down but also compromise his reaction capability. Dispersion system. To ensure perfect application, an aerosol dispersion system will be activated as soon as he enters the controlled environment. This system releases the chemical agents into the air, making it impossible for Michael to avoid them. Injectable nanobots. We'll employ injectable nanobots that will monitor his body from the inside, transmitting real-time data about his physiology and releasing additional doses of sedatives as needed. These nanobots also serve as a surveillance tool, ensuring no detail of his physical state goes unnoticed. With this strategy, Michael Myers will be neutralized before even reaching the final containment, making it impossible for him to resist the plan's progression. Step 4. Final containment. When it comes to Michael Myers, merely capturing him isn't enough. He must be confined in an impenetrable structure that eliminates any chance of escape or return. This is where the final containment comes in, the heart of the plan. quantum containment chamber. He will be placed in a quantum containment chamber designed to handle forces beyond human understanding. This chamber is lined with multiple layers of reinforced titanium and protected by a molecular force field, making it immune to Michael's brute force. Cryogenic suspension. Inside, cryogenic suspension keeps the temperature near absolute zero, slowing his bodily functions to a near immobile state. Mystical artifacts. We know Michael Myers is more than physical. Therefore, we've integrated mystical containment artifacts capable of neutralizing any supernatural force sustaining him. With a 24-hour monitoring system, coupled with technological and mystical redundancies, this structure is a definitive prison. Here, the terror ends, and safety is assured. But the question remains, can something that might not be human be contained? Step 5. Supernatural backup. Michael Myers defies the laws of science, and his resilience might be rooted in something beyond the physical. Thus, the plan wouldn't be complete without a supernatural backup to deal with his enigmatic nature. Containment artifacts. We'll use mystical containment artifacts, ancient and powerful objects designed to imprison malevolent forces. Sealing rituals. We'll perform sealing rituals conducted by a team specialized in occultism, ensuring any supernatural essence sustaining Michael is completely neutralized. This final layer not only serves as reinforcement, but as the assurance that no force, physical or spiritual, will allow his escape. Michael Myers will not just be contained, but sealed in eternal confinement. After all, conclusion. This is the definitive plan to contain Michael Myers. Technology, strategy, and even mystical forces united to ensure that Gotham or anywhere else is never threatened by him again. Now tell me, what would your strategy be? Leave your ideas in the comments. And of course, if you want to know how I would face other horror icons, stay tuned to the channel. Because here, there's always a contingency plan.
The smiling entity is not just an urban legend. It's a supernatural force that feeds on despair and transforms its victim's own pain into a distorted, deadly smile. A demon that makes no deals, shows no hesitation, and knows no bounds. Its influence spreads like a disease, corrupting all around it. This is not the type of enemy that can be stopped with brute force or advanced gadgets. It's something that goes far beyond logic, not beyond my reach. Do you think Pennywise the dancing clown could face something as relentless as the smiling entity? Share your thoughts in the comments. But now, learn about my plan, a protocol designed to face the impossible. And when I'm done, you'll understand why Gotham will never fall as long as I'm here. The smiling entity is much more than a simple demon. We're dealing with something that transcends common understanding. A supernatural parasite that feeds on intense human emotions, specifically fear and trauma. Its trademark, a forced, grotesque smile that its victims display at the moment of death. But unlike villains like the Joker, who use chemical or psychological artifices, this entity operates on a spiritual and emotional plane, making it even more dangerous. Entity behavior. Its actions follow a clear pattern. The entity infiltrates its victims' minds, using their most traumatic memories against them. It's as if it slowly strips away sanity until the person loses the ability to resist. Once the victim is completely consumed, the entity forces them to smile while their life is drained. It doesn't just kill, it tortures identified weaknesses. Although it seems invincible at first glance, every creature has a weak point. After analyzing reports and ancient records, I discovered that the smiling entity depends on a direct connection to human suffering. Without this energy source, it weakens rapidly. This means that, in theory, an environment protected against intense emotional stimuli can slow its progression. However, blocking it completely requires more than human technology. That's where magic comes into play. Comparison with other supernatural threats. I've faced beings like Trigon, the demon of Azarath. Trigon is a force of pure destruction and domination, capable of annihilating entire worlds. However, Trigon is direct in his approach, a conqueror who imposes his will through brute force. The smiling entity is different. It's subtle, a shadow that infiltrates your mind before you realize it. Trigon dominates through force, but the smiling entity wins through fear. This difference makes combat against it an incredibly more complex task, because we're not just fighting against what it is, but against what it makes you feel. These behavioral patterns and weaknesses gave me a starting point, but the complexity of this entity requires an approach that combines cutting-edge technology, magic, and psychological strategies. We're dealing with something that defies both science and logic. That's exactly why this contingency plan needs to be flawless. Dealing with the smiling entity requires a unique combination of advanced technology, mystical tools, and specialized allies. Each piece of equipment has been carefully designed or selected to combat the supernatural nature of this threat. There's no room for error. Adapted Wayne technology. First, I developed a prototype called Wayne Tech Neuro Inhibitor. This device can temporarily block the neurological connections that the entity uses to access victims' emotions. Working as a neural barrier, it reduces the intensity of traumas and prevents direct mental manipulation. It's like an emotional firewall. I installed this system in my armor, helmet, and the bat drones that will operate in the field. Additionally, I updated the bat computer to process supernatural energy variations in real time. It can identify reality distortions caused by the entity's presence, allowing me to predict its movements before it attacks. I've used something similar when facing beings like Dr. Fate and, more recently, when containing fragments of Trigon's energy. Anti-mystic equipment. However, technology alone isn't enough. The smiling entity operates in a mystical domain, so I sought help from experts. With Zatanna's guidance, I adapted the ethereal sealer. This artifact combines technology and magic to create a containment field that completely isolates supernatural entities. Its operation is complex, but in simple terms, it traps the entity in a dimensional bubble, preventing it from interacting with the physical world. I also prepared dispersal capsules based on salt and silver elements that weaken mystical entities in various myths and magical practices. These capsules can be launched from a distance or activated manually, creating a temporary purification area. They will be my support weapons to slow down the entity in the field. Collaboration with Zatanna and Constantine. This is a battle that requires allies. Zatanna, with her ability to manipulate pure magic, provided additional enchantments to reinforce the Batmobile in my armor. Constantine, with his experience in dealing with demons and entities, delivered a personal protection rune, engraved directly into my suit. This rune is a last line of defense, protecting my mind against direct attacks from the entity. Each piece of this arsenal was designed to balance the combat, whether by restricting its movement, weakening its emotional connection, or simply buying time. The key lies in combining these tools strategically. Now, with this fusion of science, technology, and magic, I have the necessary means to face the smiling entity. But these resources are just tools. The true strength of this plan lies in the strategy, and how each piece will be used at the right moment. Facing the smiling entity requires absolute precision. I can't afford to improvise against a threat that exploits every emotional and psychological vulnerability. My plan is divided into 3 main stages, each designed to neutralize its abilities, isolate it, and finally eliminate it. Containment protocol. The initial priority is to prevent the entity from spreading. As soon as its presence is detected, I'll activate the bat drones equipped with salt and silver dispersers. These drones will create an isolation zone around the target, limiting its ability to move or access new victims. This perimeter will be monitored in real time by the bat computer, ensuring the entity doesn't find gaps to escape. Additionally, the ethereal sealer will be implemented as the first line of direct containment. The entity will be lured to a specific location, previously prepared with confinement runes and amplifier devices, creating a dimensional trap. This space will be hermetically sealed against any external interaction. Isolation plan. If initial confinement fails, I move to the second phase, complete isolation, using the Batmobile, equipped with the ethereal frequency generator. I'll create a mobile barrier capable of cutting off the entity's connection to the physical plane. The goal here isn't to face it directly, but to separate it from any source of emotional energy, gradually weakening it. During this phase, Zatanna will be in a strategic position to reinforce the magical barriers, while Constantine will provide external support, using distraction enchantments to confuse the entity and buy time. Mystic quarantine system. Once isolated, the entity will be transferred to a containment chamber specifically designed for supernatural threats. Located beneath the Batcave, this facility is protected by a hybrid system of technology and magic. The walls are lined with lead and traces of silver. While protection enchant, the entity cannot escape to the astral plane. This chamber isn't a permanent solution, but a measure to buy time while I search for a definitive way to neutralize it. Zatanna is already developing a banishment ritual that, combined with Wayne Tech equipment, can remove the entity from this plane of existence. Each of these stages is designed to reduce the entity's impact, restrict its movements, and finally eliminate it. But it's important to remember, this plan is only as strong as its execution. One mistake, no matter how small, can mean total failure. That's why every detail was designed with surgical precision, even with the main plan carefully elaborated. I don't underestimate the smiling entity's ability to defy expectations. It's unpredictable, and such a threat requires multiple contingency plans. I've prepared alternatives for every possible scenario, because when it comes to protecting Gotham, failure is not an option. Scenario: initial confinement failure. If the entity escapes the ethereal sealer trap, I move to the redirection phase. The Batmobile, equipped with the ethereal frequency generator, will be used to lure it to a second prepared location. This site will include additional traps, such as salt and silver dispersers at strategic points, plus holographic projectors that confuse its senses. The priority will be keeping it moving while the Batcomputer recalibrates the dimensional barriers for a new containment attempt. Scenario: direct mental manipulation. If the entity attempts to manipulate me emotionally or psychologically, the Wayne Tech neuroinhibitor will activate, blocking its attempts to access my mind. But I know that even the most prepared can succumb. That's why I programmed the Batcomputer with a protocol called Fall of the Night. In this scenario, the artificial intelligence will take control of operations, prioritizing Gotham's safety above all, even if that means neutralizing my own interference. Scenario: expansion of its influence. If the entity manages to infect a larger number of victims, I'll activate Operation Deep Shadows. This involves using a massive dispersion pulse, an experimental device that releases a mixture of low-frequency waves combined with silver and salt particles. Although this temporarily weakens the entity, it's a risky measure that can cause collateral effects on civilians. It's a last option, but it's ready if needed. Last resort protocol. If all other plans fail and the entity reaches an uncontrollable threat level, I'll activate the Total Exile Protocol. This plan, developed with help from Zatanna and Constantine, uses a fusion of banishment magic and dimensional technology to expel the entity completely from this plane of existence. But the cost is high. The ritual consumes massive resources, and the execution time leaves Gotham vulnerable. Therefore, it will only be activated as a last measure, when no other alternative is viable. Each contingency plan is an additional layer of protection, created with a single goal: ensuring the smiling entity does not prevail. I am a strategist, and that means always being 2 steps ahead, even of the unpredictable. Gotham counts on me to be prepared, and I never disappoint. The smiling entity is not like any other threat I've faced. I can't simply defeat it with physical force or advanced technology. This battle requires something more: a balance between strategy, resilience, and the ability to face fear itself. My protocol is built on 3 fundamental pillars: containment, isolation, and elimination. Each step was designed to exploit its weaknesses, limit its influence, and ensure its presence doesn't continue to haunt Gotham. But, as always, I've prepared alternatives, because the unexpected is inevitable. The contingencies are ready to face any variable, even those I cannot predict. The smiling entity is more than a supernatural force. It's a dark reminder that even laughter can be distorted into something deadly. It's not just about protecting lives, it's about facing what's beyond comprehension and winning, even when the odds are against us. Now, I ask you, if you had to choose, who would have a better chance against the smiling entity Trigon or Pennywise? Share your opinion in the comments. After all, different strategies generate different debates, and I want to hear what you think. But remember, no matter who the opponent is, what matters is being prepared. And I always am. The battle for Gotham's survival is endless. But as long as I'm here, as long as there's a single plan or one last resource available, this city will not fall. The smiling entity is just another piece on the board, and I always play to win.